We're Retro Talk Forum.
Come on through. Let's talk kicks. Let's talk 80s and 90s nostalgia, man.
Good evening, beautiful people. Beautiful people.
Welcome.
Good evening.
Yes. We're back, man.
Back again.
It's
Yes.
another one.
A great show. Great show.
It's another one.
I'm excited about this one, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm excited about this one. We've been starting the year off kind of pretty good, especially this last month. And I know it's April the 1st, but this ain't April Fools.
This ain't a fool,
This
right?
is
Not at all. This ain't no play.
This ain't no play. We're gonna get the intros out the way. I'm Hop 18. I'm gonna pass it to my partner over here.
I'm Black BA, aka BAA. I'm gonna pass it over there.
Hey everyone, Tom at InStyleShoes1999.
Excellent.
Gonna pass it down.
DiCarlo, One Handsome V over here.
There you go.
Yes.
I'm Caddy. Let's get the show started.
Yeah.
You gotta say the intro, man. Like you gotta say your intro.
Here.
Hi guys, I'm Cadillac Jackson.
No. You gotta do the wrestling intro.
Oh, you want to?
Hello, man.
So
It says alter ego.
Real quick in context, we found a guy that's a wrestler with the same name as Cadillac Jackson, and his intro is "It's your sweet daddy,
Sweet Daddy Caddy.
He kind of reminded me of
Funniest
Dusty Rhodes, how he
Yeah.
was talking, you know.
Yeah, he's
But,
an independent
yeah.
wrestler from Virginia. Hilarious.
Yeah, he's hilarious, man. But special guest in the building. Like I said, Tom from InStyleShoes1999. Tom, if you want to introduce yourself, let them know where they can find you at, your socials, and we'll get started, man.
Yep, at Instagram, so at InStyleShoes1999. It's a fun little Instagram account, and come say hi.
Short and sweet.
Yeah, one of the dopest pages out there on Instagram. A lot of history. Like I said, man, we was talking backstage earlier, and you brought back a memory from me about a week ago. One of the first shoes that I ever bought. I saw it on your page. I could never remember the name of it, and I saw it on your page, and a light bulb went off, and I said, "That's it." So, man, y'all go make sure y'all go check his page out.
That happens a lot over there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, man. I guarantee you,
baby. That's fun. That's one of the most fun elements. You see something you just forgot about, or you get a tidbit and you get going down the rabbit hole, right?
Absolutely.
Next thing you know, it leads to another thing, and then that's how it goes.
Yeah,
maybe you'll hold up a nice looking cleaned up pair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely one of those pages takes you down memory lane.
Right.
Definitely one of those pages. So, go ahead and get started. So kind of like give us a little backstory about yourself and how you got involved with InStyle Shoes, and
sure,
just kind of like how the page is ran, if you will, like where you get your product knowledge and stuff like that. So,
well, I'm old, so I grew up. I grew up in the 80s and became aware of basketball, and pops would come home with some magazines from work, and some of those were Sports Illustrated, and you would start seeing Nike ads in those pages. You would see the Agassi ads at the Tech Challenge, you would see the AJ5, you would see infrared 90s, and some of those ads just jumped off the page. And so at a young age I became more and more aware of the brand, and Air was such a thing. I remember the ads of there is no finish line, obviously just do it, and they just pulled me in. And so in that era, combination with the commercials and all that stuff going on, Jordan was really getting going. It became part of your thing at school, right? You start noticing a bunch of people around school, and you had to have something with Nike Air on it. And so I just kind of got pulled in from that. And above my head here is my first pair. I got a retro of my first pair, the Air Cross Trainer 3. And, you know, you kind of want to remember your early days, right? And so it goes from that through, so many stops along the way, but working in stores, Athlete's Foot, Foot Locker. I eventually made it past college, and I go to Macy's Sport down at Herald Square. Spent a lot of time going to BIM, Dr. J's. I mean, you know, New York is second to none, you know, with sneaker stores. You turn in a right turn, you guys know it. And just goes from there. Start seeing the online communities, right? Some of my early favorites were air-jordans.com. Some of those early chat rooms, you start seeing Nike Street, Nike Park, eventually Nike Talk, which big bang, you know, for the opinion of a lot of us that came up in the era, it brought all of us together, lived through that and did that well. And from there, I get linked up with Uptempo Air, which was a fun little site. They also had a forum, but mostly was a fun little throwback web page. And some years after that, I get my hands on ISS, which I try to run with respect because it meant something, you know, starting those forums and the Soul Collector attachment. Well, as they changed the magazine and changed the forum name, to go through that. So I just always try to pay respect to that. One of the most important people in my journey along the way is a Russ Bankston, who Slam Magazine would pay respects to the things that he saw around that were cool. He would let people know about eBay in the early days. He would let people know about Nike Talk in the early days and just sort of share what's cool and, you know, sort of what was interesting to him. So that kind of always stuck with me as I tried to get into my era in terms of running ISS and all the things up through today. I run the page. Mostly I want to give shine to people. Mostly I want people to have fun, maybe learn something if you can, but just honestly, it's about connecting. Like that's the single thing, the simplest way for me to explain that Instagram is it's just about connecting, and that looks differently for different people, right? Some people are into collecting and want to have every color of the shoe. Others like the obscure. Others, you know, enjoy the connectivity of a story, that type of thing. So the different facets of being in sneaker, I don't know how you guys feel about it. I don't want to take over all the chat here, but
you're good.
Please, man.
The idea is that, you know, so sneakerhead is a term that I believe Bobito coined. I think he was the first to use the term sneakerhead, which not everybody vibes with, right? Some people kind of roll their eyes to it or whatever. Some people would say that about collector. Well, we're not all collectors. Some of us are artists. Some of us are content creators. Some of us like to dress up in a leotard like Martin and do a funny bit on.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
To each their own, man.
That's it. Yeah.
So you see what I'm saying? Like, and so for
he
me,
definitly pushes the envelope when it comes to it.
Definitely.
So for me, enthusiast kind of encapsulates that. At a you know, I don't know too many people that would sort of roll their eyes at enthusiast as a term, and it has a broad application, and so I enjoy that phrase. And so, you know, I just love connecting with people. I mean, sneakers are conduits, really. You know I'll be texting you Windrunners every time I come across them now, Hop. So you and I are going to be Windrunner minded. I'm going to be thinking of Flight 89s for him. I'm going to be thinking of wrestling for Cadillac, and I'm going to think of Martin. Think of Trainer Tuesday posts, which happen often with these. So you know, you connect. The shoes are the conduits, right? So that's really mostly what I hope people can take away from that is a little bit of fun, but link up
some
in the comments
behind it,
because of it. Yeah.
So I got a question. Tom, I can call you Tom, right?
Of course.
Okay. I got a question. So I know we talked a while back, and one of our conversations we talked about was storytelling.
Yeah.
So do you think this day and age storytelling is at its all-time high? Is it mid or is it
From who?
just
Follow-up
any
question.
brand?
Okay,
Yeah, just
so you're
any
saying
brand
from the brand to us all.
to the consumer, yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, today's an interesting day to bring that up. April 1st. No,
Nice. Oh yes.
I mean, enough said. Right? So,
Yeah.
in my opinion, the shoe becomes ours April 1st, 1985. It
Mhm.
becomes to the public. From that day on, it's ours. Now, we celebrate Band Day not too long ago.
Yes.
Mhm.
Well, there were some liberties that I don't know if you guys saw Unbanned. It's an interesting film. But so
Yeah.
I think that there are times where some things just become so iconic and part of our culture, like the band's story.
Mhm.
And I think the brands, I should say, are utilizing storytelling as a vehicle to draw us in or get, hit the nostalgia levers with us all and get us going and engaged. And so I think it was a hit in that regard. But globally, I think there's some room for improvement. Some of it feels like, well, the people that are doing it, were they there for it? Did they live it like some of us did? Do they have the same so the people doing the storytelling to us who lived it maybe have a different lens on it. And
Right.
that's okay. It doesn't have to be a qualifier per se, but it's just sort of hard to sell context and history opposite. Like when you say storytelling, that's him and you and you and you and myself.
Mhm.
We are the storytellers,
Yes.
not the brand.
That's
So
interesting.
let me touch on that then real quick, Tom. So basically, just say this day and age with the marketing teams
Yeah.
that these brands have,
Yeah.
do you think it's to the point where they just don't resonate with it, so they make up, I ain't gonna say a facade, but it's almost like I want to say a facade story to try to sell it to the new generation, but the generation that actually lived that story can be
It
like,
can
man,
feel that way. It can feel
right.
contrived at times. I will say I actually, other than the sort of leap that happens with band, with the original band because of the Rod Thorn letter and the just black and red colorway. It's just literally the leap that happens with that. And I actually think it's genius marketing on their part. They can't sell a shoe they don't have in the stores. So, that type of thing. Sell what's coming, not what's past.
Sure.
I'm happy to see Aleli May. I'm happy to see Fuji's in there, Hiroshi's he's in there. A lot of the enthusiasts, I know Khaled's in there more recently, so you have the sort of brand markers, the ambassadors of the brand, and that they're tipping their cap to in that rollout. I respect that. I love that. I just don't love the kind of whole premise. It's a little bit deck of cards. I want to get off the band thing just because it's today, but in general, it can feel it's better from the enthusiasts, the ones that where it's true for, and I struggle with on that side, on our side of things. Sometimes people put content out because they think the brand will like it, right? They're sort of selling a version of something that they think the brand will then monetize them for and see them shoes for, versus the integrity of what it is we're doing. And so the influencer stuff. So that's sort of my thought. As you asked me about storytelling on the brand side, I think about influencer on our side.
Mm-hmm.
So there's kind of this push pull where things get lost, and then there's the sort of true fans, right? There's the people either who lived it or are just into it. You could be young and be into it. I mean, I respect people who are, just genuinely curious. It's not about gatekeeping. It's about how honest is their integrity in what it is we're doing, or are you just simply selling something?
Preserving the heritage.
Buy it.
Yeah.
So it's
I just think,
I
just look at it like preserving the heritage of whatever you're marketing. If it came out back in the day, just say like a Bo Jackson ad. They used him as an all sport athlete, even though we know he only played 2 sports. But they sold that shoe to the masses to say, hey, you can do anything in this shoe.
Bo knows.
Bo knows everything, even hockey. I feel like, stuff like that, they can get back to it. Like I told, we talked on the phone and I was like, I like that they spent marketing money on that banned commercial or unbanned commercial.
Yeah.
I love that because it seems like they are listening, but I feel like they went the wrong direction with that because a few years back, of course, you had the ship that they released.
Right.
It's the official band shoe, but released in one store.
Well, it's the black and red shoe he was wearing as the black and red letter was written. Hey, you can't wear those colors, the team uniform stuff. But yes, the leap.
So I just, like I said, we had this conversation a few shows back, and I just love the marketing that they did on it.
Right.
Question, top notch. It took me back to that era. I just felt like it was. You switching it up on me, and now you're finna tell me another lie all over again. Like,
well,
it's gonna be like a 40-year-old lie again.
But with that though, they spent marketing dollars on the visuals, right? But then they made the shoe limited to the public, and they only gave like these so-called influencers first dibs on the shoe. That stuff like that is kind of aggravating. If you
not to mention the supply and demand price hike.
Right.
Yeah, so that's an interesting thing. So I've got 2 pair of 85s here. This is the 20. Was it the 20? Help me on the years on this. This is the Georgetown.
I think the Georgetown was 22.
Right, and then the black and this is 23.
23, I believe. I think so.
Not for nothing, and I don't have the breads with me today, but not for nothing. These are good enough. They might have actually gotten it more right with these than they did. I don't know if you guys saw my buddy Steve, Sneaker Tech Talk. He just did a comparison with a mid and the black and red 85, and you can see that they're mid height. These guys, they had it right.
Super high. Yeah,
you didn't need to spend the money to raise the price to the 250. You just did that to say, hey, we care about detail.
Yeah, and they put some stamps on the insoles of the shoes.
Yeah. Look, it's a B plus.
Yeah, I feel like the rollout for it was good, but once again, you can't make something, you can't retro something to be exactly as the OG because it's different hands, it's different visions, it's different materials out there. It's not the same. So
I heard something was like maybe 7 or 8. I forget how many factories there were back in the day. There was a lot of variants in the shoes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So if you talk to the longtime AJ1 enthusiasts, they'll all tell you. You could put 4 shoes next to each other,
and they're all different.
They're all different. Yep.
Big swings. Yeah. I mean, I've looked. Wow. All right.
So imagine if there was legit checkers back then.
Wow. Yeah. Like market. I mean,
Yeah. It would be a mess.
Sure. But you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. I think the storytelling thing is both underdone and overdone. But
I was going to ask, do you think sometimes the brand reaches too far to try to make a story out of something?
Yeah.
Manufactured marketing.
Yeah, it can happen, and that's all right. I get a little sort of frustrated when we have to sort of take a shoe. Like, I believe in context. right? So like you're selling me the shoe, like, do I need all the stuff around it, or is it as simple as, is this shoe dope? Yes or no? Like some people are very face value, yes or no, keep it moving. And other people are like, I need the whole thing for you to sell me this thing. This needs to make sense to me. Sell it to me. Right. Then there's on our side, how we connect with it. Right. That's different than a brand selling us something. That's us connecting for something. And then we choose to chase it or go find it. That's the hunt, you know, a version of it, you know. So it looks differently. But yeah, you know, you want authenticity. I mean, it's just that simple.
Agreed.
Okay, you touched on some as far as saying like, you know, the brands think that we want it all around the shoe, everything around the shoe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give you a perfect example of what I felt like was basically a one of one to the original. Is when they came out with that reimagined black toe. I felt like that was more of a genuine story than the unbanned.
Mm-hmm.
Because he actually had that shoe on his shoulder for a photo shoot.
Yeah.
But that shoe now is selling for pennies. And
does that matter? Hey, does that matter? Does the resale price of the shoe matter in the conversation?
Okay, I would say this, not for me, and I felt like not for these guys on this panel.
And that's kind of why I'm trying to, that's right. It's more about the authenticity than it is, hey, these are $500, these are $100.
Right.
People, you know, a lot of people would say that the black toes are bricks. You know, because
we don't care.
Yeah, but the packaging and the quality on that shoe was dope.
Man.
Yeah, the packaging was great.
Yeah, and for sure, that's an enjoyable shoe. Yeah, the shape is, you know, closer to the maybe 2016, which is not a bad thing. You know, material wise or otherwise, like it's a good shoe. I don't know.
I just felt like the story. I just felt like the story was like a whole lot better, in my opinion. And the rollout for it.
And that too, yeah, for sure. You know, just the idea of pitching that, and just the visual too, with him doing the over the skyline, you know, you know. But look, you could say the Black Cement 3 was a brick. I've seen them discounted. I know we all want to cry saying something like that. It's unimaginable. One of the greatest in the history of Jordan. And they did a pretty good job of it, but the suede is a little bit of a weird color.
It reminds me of the 94s when they came out. That's exactly what it reminds me of, the 94s.
Yeah.
And for sure. I'm good with that.
I didn't touch them.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Now, what they should have did was release those white cement 4s that's coming out in a couple of months last year and let them be so-called bricks. You know, because I'm wondering how many pairs that they had of those Black Cement 3s. It had to have been roughly 400,000 to 500,000.
Yeah.
So this year they, you know, scarce and everything. They're making everything, you know, so limited to try to bring the brand back from obscured, you know, numbers or whatever.
And they're still losing.
And they still
losing money.
So let me ask you a question though. Like, so the other side of that coin, I would say something. Rule number one of being a sneakerhead: we want what we can't have,
and we want it how we want it, and we're not gonna give it to us.
Yeah, that might be one, like 1A and 1B, or like but like we are, very simply put, if we can easily have it,
we don't want it. Yeah,
we don't want it.
So
point taken.
I think in some situations, but you know, I think people like us, like,
no, we love the shoes. They're part of our lives. Like,
right.
We could talk for 6 hours about those shoes.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
We love them. Is the consumer walking into JD Sports or Finish Line and seeing them on the shelf that isn't a person 30 plus? What pulls them in?
Yeah, you're right. Scarcity and rarity of it.
I mean, feel like you pull your phone out of your pocket, you hop on StockX. Oh shit, I can make $50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mean to say it that way. I know it sounds a certain way, but that is such a driver. I mean, look at the reimagined 5s,
Yeah.
right? That shoe sold surprisingly well because it was selling well in the aftermarket, and people can make an extra. And so now you're seeing the, people grabbing and fighting. You saw it again with the cool gray 9s. Those are shoes that 6 months ago would have just chilled.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Would we have cared?
But once again, that's the scarcity of the production numbers.
So
That's
it's a
doing all that.
seesaw, right? It's a very fickle thing. You can't let a black cement 3 be on a store shelf for months and months and months and go on sale and get dust. But you also can't make so few of them that those of us out here are just mad. So what do you do?
I think they might be trying to fool us because they said the flu games was somewhat limited, but I done seen a bunch of restocks on them.
Mad
Full size run restock the other day,
Yeah,
Mad
they had a restock
restocks.
today.
Yeah.
They did a restock on Nike yesterday, I believe.
Yeah, so they pull them down,
They do.
right? They pull them down and then they put them back up again, right?
Yeah, let's build this hype up on these shoes so we can get rid of them.
It's a push pull, right?
Exactly.
So since we on the topic of storytelling, is there a sneaker either behind you or around you that's an arm length that you can tell us a story that connects and resonates with you? That gives you that fond memory of that shoe.
Yeah.
Like you knew exactly where you was when that shoe came out.
So I'll answer your question with a slight adjustment to it, if it's okay.
Okay, that's fine.
So AJ5, my favorite sneaker of all sneakers, was the black metallic 5. Just love them, right? That's the thing that I saw them and I went, wow, in 1990. I do it when I see them today. So I get the black fire red as the 6s were coming out. So I get them on sale, right? You would see the overlap in years. I finally got my first pair of Jordans, man. Get off the bus. This is very factual here. Get off the bus, first day I'm wearing them. Within seconds, I get to the, walk off, get to the post, the flag post. A person who is I wouldn't say we're friends. We don't know each other really. We know of each other. Comes over to me. When did you get those? He's got them on. We start talking. Now we both got fire reds on. We're standing, before school at the post. 35 years later, when I tell you our wives go on vacation together without us.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's my introduction to cool sneakers.
Right.
I literally within seconds make a lifelong friend. We just had the Knicks game together this past weekend, actually.
Nice.
So it's not always going to be like that. That's a kind of a,
So let me ask you this, like that story right there, and you say that black toe 5, is that something that would make you get that shoe when it releases later this year? Because I know you say you've been at a standstill when it comes to pickups. Lately.
Yeah. So a buddy of mine, that was a painting of the shoe. He at my 30th birthday party, so well after the shoe had come out, there was a surprise party, and I get into the place, and he hands me this painting he had just made. He was like, I said, "What made you pick those?" He goes, "Oh, that's just the dopest one. Like that's the one I feel like we just love." I'm wearing them. He had no idea I was going to wear them that day.
Nice.
So sometimes life has like coincidences, or life has like, people observe shoes that are sort of your shoe, right? Like I'm going to look at you and think Windrunner, the whole thing. Like we just went through this. I'm going to think, flights with him. You're going to think AJ5 with me. And because it's just, you carry a story. And so from that standpoint, it's emotional. Now, am I going to go to the store and buy the shoe? Probably. Am I going to put it on the shelf here? Probably.
Yeah. As you should. Yeah.
As you should.
Yeah.
But also, I've never had a pair of grape 5s, and so we're getting a cool pair of grape 5s. So I've had all the original 5s.
That's my favorite 5. The
So I'm
grape
kinda
5
like-
is my favorite 5.
Well,
I had those.
the grapes. Yeah,
I had
that's
those.
Sweet
I had
Chocolate.
those in the 10th grade.
Good.
The grape 5s. Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
my favorite
I mean,
all-time 5. My cousin had the black toe 5s, but I always wanted the black metallic silver 5 because I just remember that ad, that Air Jordan ad with the shoe just laying flat with the shoestring. Yeah, that's probably one of the best ads, you know. And going back to like what you were saying earlier about the ads jumping out in the magazines.
Yeah.
Me personally, I would tear those ads out and just hang
Put 'em on the wall.
wall.
Put
Yeah,
it
Oh,
on
yeah.
the wall.
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. You know, and that was the draw, you know, back then. And so I'll to punctuate your question, I'll say this about storytelling. You could pick a Jordan or pick a sneaker, right? Like in this case, we're talking about Jordans, Jordan 5. I could look at the shoe and legit think about 3, 4, 5 different things before I even think about MJ.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm with you.
For me, yes, it's his shoe. He did the things in it, all the stuff, Detroit Pistons, you know, all the things those years. Great. But the sort of impact on the connectivity in my life is what I think about first, or my friend's life. Like, so for example, I have a buddy, Andrew, Sneaker Preservation Society. He just lives and breathes for the Chlorophyll Trainer 1. And
Okay.
you know, my man is deep on that shoe. And so whenever I see anybody with it, I forward them a post.
Mhm.
You know, you get these
Yeah.
associations with stuff, right?
Absolutely.
You think of AJ2, I'm going to think of Sean Collar, right?
Right.
I got a pair of AJ2. I got AJ2 box right here, made in Italy. OG.
I see that.
That's
Yeah.
about a $500 to $700 investment right
OG
there.
3 box right here.
Jesus.
Yeah. But, you know, certain people, are, you know, and then you become friends with them, and then it's, you know, then you're not doing sneaker stuff, but you still think of the sneakers, the thing that brought you
course.
together.
Right.
Mhm.
So I would love to hear how you guys all connected and became a band, so to speak, you know, like that's fun for me. But I know you guys are the ones asking the questions. Maybe that's for another time.
No, I mean, we can probably, touch on that real quick. I know you got things to do. So, basically back in what it was 2015, 2016, Hop,
Yeah.
me and him met through a Facebook sneaker group. He was selling shoes. I ended up buying them. We connected then. Fast forward to 2019, we started this show. Along that
Black.
time,
Hold on, Black. Hold on.
Okay.
So,
okay.
yeah, I was at a point in my collection. I have a love-hate relationship with sneakers. So it was a point in time where I had like a bunch of doubles of shoes. I was working at the shoe store, and I was the epitome of one to rock, one to stock. I'm gonna make this real quick. So I was still selling like some extra ones that I had, and Black reached out to me, and we connected that way. But we had a small little sneaker show here in where I'm at. And Black brought his collection of stuff. And when I saw his collection, I was like, oh, snap. He's like for real. Because he had stuff that I like from my childhood. And we kind of connected before then, but we just connected on a whole nother level after that. And we just became friends. And then we're not too far from each other. And, Black had mentioned about doing this show like years before we did it, but I was just never a camera guy type of person.
Right.
And we just connected like that, man. And that's my brother. You know what I mean? We talk. It's more than just shoes now. And kind of like not really same thing with Caddy down below, but me and Caddy kind of connected on photography. I saw his pictures. Started watching the show, which Black turned me on to his show, Talking Kicks, and we just kind of connected, ended up going to like the shoe thing together also. And, we just started talking and communicating.
We met up in Atlanta in 2018.
2018.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the place where I remember seeing V that he was going by a different name then. He was Pig Business then.
Pig Business.
Yeah. Pig Business. And
Oh,
started
my
following
God.
V, and man, we just
Not in front of company, man. Not in front of company.
it's just one of those things where when you can recognize good people and and you just talk, and then it starts becoming more than just shoes. You know, you're sharing life experiences. You know, I share with these guys stuff about my family. You know, my son just got married a couple of weeks ago, and they all know that. And you know, it's just bigger than shoes when it comes to us, and we all share the same passion, the same love. So that's kind of like my story. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Black, but he skipped over a major part for me, because when I saw him pull up in his car and he was pulling out these OG Reebok pumps, and he had the 94 white cements, and I had the black cements from back then, but I was hooping in mine, and hindsight is 2020, man. Sure. We was wearing, I was wearing shoes, tearing them up on the court.
Yeah,
like we were saying. So that's kind of like, because my kind of like origin story was I was strictly Jordan, and ended up, which I've always known about other shoes. I worked at Foot Locker, and I've always admired other shoes. But when I started getting my own money, I just wanted to wear everything head to toe Jordan. That was just me. So that's pretty much what my story is. And Black kind of helped reignite that spark in me when it came to shoes. Because I was like I said, it was a love, for me, it's a love-hate relationship, because they started making these shoes harder to get, and I was like, man, screw this, I'm done with these shoes. And like I said, you go through different stages.
Sure, you go through that. Yep, that's great. I love having the background with you guys, and I love that the one thing I think we've done together is share pumps.
Right.
Like we did a collab post. I love that that's part of your sort of connectivity with each other. That's actually makes it even more special. That's great.
Yeah, because I had the when I was a kid, I had the Spurs colorway, the white, gray, and teal David Robinsons. I was like I was the only guy with that colorway at my school.
Yeah.
And because the other kid had the Volt pair. But like when I was in high school, that's what I was spending my money on: cutting grass, spending money on these high price shoes, and moms and them thought we was crazy. But it was one of those things, man.
We had more time to obsess about them back then, because they had a longer shelf life.
Yeah,
more time to
going out every weekend.
More time dreaming about them, no money to pay for them.
Right. But you started cutting grass. You started, maybe doing some other odds and ends. It made you sort of get into the working world a little bit, and that I respect about the journey for a lot of people. It's pretty well.
My first legit paying job was a place called Lee's Chicken. I took half my check and put a pair of Jordans on layaway.
Yeah, you don't even hear about layaway no more these days, man.
Yeah, not at all.
No.
Yeah.
Unless you call Afterpay or whatever layaway.
Right.
Yeah.
So how it goes.
But for me, like when I first got my job, it was like me kind of working in this little convenience store. It was like under the table. I was probably about 14, 15 years old. Never made enough money to buy like a pair of sneakers. So once I finally got my job, I worked at a grocery store here. I was in the 11th going to the 12th grade. And my first pair of sneakers that I bought with my own money was the Converse Accelerator High in that black and gray colorway. This was back then where, we wear the big baggy jeans and you cover up majority, about 3/4 of your shoes, and you just see the toe box, blah, blah, blah.
Pants, legs cuffed up.
So the thing with us back in the day, the lunchroom or the gym was basically the time where you start showing off what you got, especially the lunchroom. So when I walk in, I had my jeans over my pants, and on those Converse, they had the big con on the tongue. And I just say, you know what, let me pull the tongue out so everybody can see. They saw it. Man, what are those? Blah, blah, blah. And, from that point on, this is when, East Bay had COD, you know what I'm saying, through UPS. And then my second pair was the Aero Glides, the first Larry Johnsons.
Yeah, the grandma models.
Converse Aero Glides.
not the jams, but the glides.
Right.
Yeah.
And they thought that was a skateboard shoe. And I'm like, no, because they never seen anything like this. Now you got to think this is the height of Nike. I was that one in school that always went around Nike to buy other
It's the
things.
grain. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was always against the grain. I think I'm still
Yeah.
that way, man.
Good.
And we have this thing where when you go in the lunchroom, especially for like breakfast in the morning when you get off the school bus or the cheese wagon, what we call it. Instead of you sitting on the seat of the lunch table, we sat on the table and put our foot on the seat so people can see our sneakers, right? So once again, I had like a crowd around me, like, man, what are those? Blah, blah, blah. What are those? I pulled my pants up and they saw the big con on the tongue.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, these are my first 2 pairs of sneakers that I bought with my own money.
Ah.
And, after that, I started getting into like different things. I bought my first pair of 33 high Ewings, the blue suede joints. My cousin, she stayed in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. She asked me what I wanted. I said, do y'all got any Ewings? Because I saw him playing in them. That was my favorite player. She sent the pair down to me.
Trash.
I was in my first sneaker battle back in the day, man. This guy challenged me to a little sneaker battle because I had them shoes on.
What do you have on?
He had some red suede Fila boots.
Man,
Exactly.
I'm a Knicks fan lifelong, so
Hey, man, I've been a Knicks fan since 1985, man, since
Good.
he got drafted. So,
Bernard King.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's just a little short.
I love the
story for
journey,
those
man.
folks,
That's
yeah.
fun.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
What
I
you
mean,
got,
we're gonna run
Caddy?
it down. Yeah, I can say run it down, Caddy.
Caddy and V.
I'll
Wait,
go.
wait.
So I'll tell you how I met them. I met Black. Black used to watch our show Talking Kicks with me and OG Sneakers and Beer Jedi. And we had decided we were going to go to Atlanta for SneakerCon 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first time myself and OG were meeting Beard, because OG and I had met the month before. So we go to Atlanta and we knew we were going to see Black there. Black comes with a pair of Year the Rabbit Jordan 7s and a pair of, I believe it was first game LeBron Zoom Generations.
Mm-hmm.
So
Chuck
they were
Eric.
size 11 and a half, and OG wanted them. So OG was like, how much you want for them? Black told him the price, and OG's like, I gotta see how much money, I want to spend. So me and Beard looked at each other, and Beard was like, hey, I'll put down 60 on it. And I was like, all right, I'll put down 40 on it. And Black was like, you know what? I'll bring the price down to here, and this is all you got to pay. And OG started crying, and he got thug tears. Yep. And we got him the pairs, and that's how we linked up with Black. and that's how we all became friends.
I love that.
Now,
man.
the next year, we decided we were going to go back to Atlanta. And Black said, hey, I'm going to bring my boy with me. He said, I'm going to bring my boy Hop with me. So they drove down. We meet Hop for the first time, and I swear to you, it was like we had grew up together. We was running in the streets of Atlanta, going to Walters and all these sneaker stores and everything. And then like we would hit each other up on Marco and all that. And then we went to DC in 2019 for SneakerCon. And there was one particular night me and Hop were out taking sneaker pics because that was our thing. And a lady said something disrespectful to me, but I pretended like I didn't hear it. But Hop caught it. And Hop said, you care to repeat that again? And the lady kind of looked at Hop and got scared.
I wasn't going to do nothing.
Yeah, but it was just the fact that he defended me in a situation that if I would have said something, it would turn bad.
Yeah.
But the fact that he defended me, it was like, I was like, I looked at him and I was like, you really are my brother. And he was like, I got you, bro. And from that moment on, I was like, yo, you family. You know, V started watching Talking Kicks, and I would see his posts, like they said, pig business, and you know, they and I would see his posts and everything like that. And like we were in a group chat, and he just became like one of those people that you just knew was like he's genuine. Like, you know, whenever you know we're going through something, he always reaches out to make sure we're good. All of them reach out. We reach out to each other, make sure we're good. If we don't hear from each other, hey, you got to let me know something.
Yeah. Say,
you
well,
know you're all right. Yeah. So, and those are the type of people you need around you.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That's so. I love this, man. That's it right there. That's the best. You know, you guys bond over the stuff, and you have it, and you go with it, and you're building too. Like that's the thing I wanted to say before is that kudos to you guys for doing it. Like you're not just sitting around talking about it, and years or months and then years might go by. You're doing it, and so I tip my cap to you guys for that. I'm in so many half projects right now that may never see the light of day. And so I'm very, very much moved by seeing movement, you know, and seeing connectivity. And so that's where, you know, it's great. It's great to see, man.
Yeah. All I can say is, man, whatever your projects is, start with one and just, you know, see it to the end, man.
Best you can. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I know we all in our, you know, personal lives or our, you know, our hobby lives or whatever. We got a lot of things going on. But I'm the one that says, you know, I have to stick with one thing at that time and see it through.
Sure.
Like I'm working on I'm kind of getting off subject. I'm working on a motor for one of my cars. So I tore the motor down and I'm starting back over from scratch. Never done it before. But we got so much technology, so much stuff out here to where you can't help but to know how to do it if somebody's living that same thing that you're doing or have already done it. So I'm seeing it through, man. That's what I got to say. Like if you got something going, we want to see it, man. We want to see it come to fruition, man. You know, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's great. Good philosophy on that.
Oh yeah, man. I try to do what I can do when I can do it, man. You know how it is.
All we can do what we can.
Yeah. What's your story, real quick, V?
I mean, as far as meeting you guys, obviously, that their first time was in Atlanta SneakerCon. It was brief, but it was enough to have a long-lasting first impression. I'll say that, and I'm glad I can call you guys my brothers today. But as far as sneakers go, my first pair of Nikes was the 92 Flight Huarache. So, yeah. Here he goes.
I'm going.
Okay. 2003.
This OG, baby.
No. Those are 92s. Yeah.
92s.
OG, baby.
See that shape?
Yeah. So that's my first.
Get the white
welcome to the swoosh. Yeah. That's beautiful.
Are you a size 12?
Oh man, here we go.
Are you a size 12? Hey, let's talk, man. Let's talk.
Stop the show.
He's telling us story.
Yeah. That was my first introduction to the swoosh, man. But I've always been partial to it. Things that I can remember, like my first fight I was ever in, I was wearing the white Zoom Flight 5s, the Jason Kids, and I remember that like it was yesterday, man. So I've always been partial to the swoosh. But I like all shoes, in all honesty. Like I tell them, you know, I don't like to be boxed in at all. I like all brands. I don't discriminate whatsoever. So, but yeah, man, I just like shoes, just like sharing pictures and putting a little extra effort into it. I know, like I said, we talked earlier, the InStyle Shoes page is meticulously curated, man, and I have a lot of respect for that because I know it's tough. It's tough to get it the exact way you want it all the time. So you guys do a great job of that, and it's always a treat whenever you guys post. So
Yeah, I agree.
thank you again for all of your support for all of us, not just me and myself, for everybody up here and everybody in the
We all
community,
feed
man.
off each other, man.
Yeah.
Like if you know, it's one of those things. There's no one way to do it, but that's the way.
Yes.
To do it. Like
Yeah.
you know, like you guys are, you know, moving me in a way, you know, and so that's just how it goes. And so, you know,
Yeah.
you sort of stand on the shoulders of many, right? And so,
Absolutely.
whenever somebody asks me about me, I'm gonna reference as many names as I can
Someone
think of
else,
in
yeah.
context to give them, you know, their, you know, type of stuff. And that's really what this all is, right? Like I struggle with some of the, like, maybe, well, first of all, I don't want to derail our content. Are we have any
No, you're good. You're
okay.
good.
No,
Go
you're
ahead.
good, man. Yeah.
I didn't want to take
Storytelling.
place. Yeah, I just, for me, you know, we're talking about sneakerhead and we're talking about enthusiast, and you know, I think that sometimes what comes with some of this stuff, collector maybe, is maybe we're a little nerdy, you know, maybe we're a little, I don't know, we get like maybe pigeonholed or stigma sometimes in terms of like, oh, you're into sneakers and like
Yes.
that's not for me. That's something from the 90s or blah, 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 blah. Like, you know, I think that if we continue to share the very real, in the way that we're saying about the brand selling us the shoes, and I believe that the enthusiast, some people don't even believe there's an enthusiast community, right? That in and of itself is a conversation. Is there?
Yes.
Not everybody says
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
I can't look at this screen and think anything other than absolutely.
Sure.
It's right in front of me.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, you know, you guys feed off each other, help each other, and that reaches, you know, to many others as well. And so for me, it's about, there's so much more than just buying shoes. I have them on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like when someone says you're into sneakers, what do? They look down at your feet. How much do those cost?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That you go through all of the
What?
stereotypes
Yeah.
Mhm.
of a, what is a sneakerhead, you know, to a non, you know, or a sane person, you know.
Sure.
But and so for me, it's showing it in a positive light.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it lives and thrives and grows. Is us all storytelling.
Yes.
Our stories.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're right. Like you know, the athletes kind of brought us to the shoes, but what we did while we had the shoes resonates more with our memories.
Yeah, that's what we remember. Yeah.
You know,
And
because
that's what
a
we
lot of
bond over.
Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times, like when we, like I've seen posts where people will be like, I'm fulfilling my inner childhood,
Yeah.
if you will.
Yeah.
You know, because we had memories of these shoes when we was kids,
Mhm.
and that we wanted them and we couldn't get them.
Mhm.
So now that's what some people do.
Great.
You know, I'll see a shoe and it'll bring back a memory from my childhood. Some good, some bad, but you know, regardless, it's still it's still triggering memories from my past.
Made you feel something. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you
Right.
feel right. That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Right.
But I think that's like 80% of people that's into sneakers. They resonate to that. They always want to say, well, I want to go back and get what I couldn't get when it came out.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these, you know, sneakers that come out is just basically, like you said, us going back to that nostalgic time
So
when this sneaker came out and knowing exactly what you was doing at that time.
right. I will say, and I love this too. I did meet a person recently who was very excited to get a Pegasus Premium in the mail. So excited that he put them on foot and did a nice little post about them. That's a new shoe.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
That's a
Tom,
new
I'm
shoe.
still,
And I
Tom, I'm
love
still
that
waiting on
energy.
mine. Tom, I'm still waiting on mine.
That's a
Mine are in the mail. Mine are in the mail.
That's
I'm
a
still waiting on
comfortable
mine.
shoe too.
Yeah.
That's definitely a comfortable shoe.
Yeah, but the idea that, you know, it can go forward also, you know, like
Oh,
it's-
yeah.
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I think is sort of a marker for me, is that because you got to think about the people younger than us. Can they wear an Air Max BW or a Cool Gray 11 without us old heads, whatever, being like, man, what do you know about? Because we
You don't
can
know about
be
those.
a little not good. Let's just be honest. We can be a little towards the young folk.
Little,
Not always.
little,
Not
little,
all.
You don't know nothing about those.
a little
Right.
gatekeeping.
Right.
But you still wet
But
behind the ears.
Let me just draw a parallel. When I was growing up in high school or whatever, I would wear concert shirts. I know it's popular now, but I would wear
Mhm.
shirts from my father's era, like Led Zeppelin, let's say,
That's it.
or
Yeah.
Pink Floyd, or something early on. Man, what do you know about? You know what I mean? All right, well, I can listen to it and I can enjoy
Mhm.
it. Yeah, I
Mhm.
didn't live through it. So there's a parallel, right? In
Very
sort of
true.
music tastes, and it's just sort of the easy thing to sort of draw the parallel in sneakers. When you see a younger person enjoying our shoes, let's say, welcome. I hope it's for the right reasons, or even if it's not. Hey, these sell for $300 on StockX. I'm cool. Look at me. Unfortunately, we got too heavy on that, right? Heat
Yeah.
is a synonym for it sells for $500 on StockX.
Right.
Mm.
Versus Heat from our era was, where'd you get those?
Damn. Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, those are dope. Ooh.
You ain't
Heat.
cover your mouth or did that, did it?
Where'd you get those? Right. Wow.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Indeed.
but the idea of the way cool happened in sneakers then, having something different. Now it's having the highest status. And I think that that's really changing for the better now. Like, we got away from all of these super high-end collabs and that just being the thing. Not that I'm not against them. I'm just saying, like, it just becomes nauseating when people look down on your GRs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you're gonna look down on me because my shoe is $100
Right.
or whatever. Like, so I think that we kind of became somewhat of a fractured, but it feels like that pendulum is changing again, and I like it. Like, I think things are changing back to an enjoyment for it versus the status is, it being there's only 10 of these in the world, or
Yeah.
What comes from it?
yeah. And so you see, I don't care. I don't
Right.
care. If you're wearing a pair of Cause 4s, dope, cool.
Yeah.
I'll dap you up, and I'll dap you up if you're wearing a pair of pair of Dunks. Like, fine. So anyway, there's just a lot of things about how we all are with each other, and just being aware of that.
Let me ask you this real quick. So how do you feel about, because there's a lot of shoes that it seems like they're bringing back out. Huarache trainers for one.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite.
Yeah.
Of all time. But it seems, they have to put they have to make a collab shoe first.
Oh, of course, yes.
they-
Yeah. Clint.
You're right. But it seems like they do like the Air Force 3s.
You go.
They had to do a collab.
Yeah.
Who knows if we're gonna get any OG hot tops?
So I just did a post with the metal guy.
Yes.
Eric's,
Yeah, retro X Fire.
Yeah. He's always out there with the so I hate to say it to it like this. There was a period of time where Nike was about the athletes, and the athlete, the only one I can think of right now, well, two of them is Sabrina, right? She's the most worn NBA shoe right now. And then Asia's out there with her shoe. I'm just thinking of, signature athletes right now that are having successful push. But in our era, it was athlete dominant usually. Then you get into the 2000s, Kanye, right?
Yep.
Music. So now you have influencer.
Influence.
And then Missy Elliott with Adidas at that time, Pharrell, and so it starts popping out. Sneakers go from athletic driven to retro and then you tie it to a sports element where then you're seeing lifestyle introduced culture introduces lifestyle shoes,
Mhm.
right? There are, I hate to say this, but there are a lot more people now that are introduced to a brand by a Travis Scott. That's a conversation he's had, right? I think he respectfully declines it, but people would argue Travis Scott is more the face of the brand than MJ is. Some people
I've heard
Yeah.
some people say that too.
he declines it. He's like, listen, respectfully, no, like MJ's MJ. But the entry point for us versus the entry point for someone young, it has to do with culture.
Right.
You might watch a Billie Eilish show and she's got some dunks on or some Jordans or some forces on, right? And so that's the shift that's happened in the last 15, 20 years. I mean, really since Kanye.
Yeah.
Yeah, since Kanye.
Really since the Nike Yeezys,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I think there's a world where we can do both. I think there's a world where we can celebrate Asia and Sabrina. And are there any men's Nike basketball shoes we give a shit about right now? I'm sorry.
No, not to my knowledge. I mean,
No, because they all look the same.
the
Yeah.
same. Yeah.
Right.
I like Books. Some of his rare PEs. I like them, man. I like them.
But not the ones you
I'm
can
not
actually
saying that because I'm in Arizona. Yeah.
Yeah. So you see what I'm saying? Like, you know, from the athlete side, the athlete driven impact and impressions versus the
Sure.
celebrity driven
Yeah.
impact. That really
Right.
flip flopped.
So,
I think the two don't need to be inverse of each other. The two can both happen. I just
Right.
don't think they've done both well lately.
Mm.
it seems like some of the
satisfy both-
athletes
both
that's out
sides.
there. My bad. Go ahead, Black. What were you saying?
No, I was just saying it can satisfy both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all.
But I see like a lot of the male athletes, like LeBron kind of did it first with the LeBron watch. You know, they're integrating
Mhm.
the older influence shoes,
Mhm.
making them more modern or making the newer shoes influenced by the older shoes.
Oh yeah.
if you
Yeah.
would-
So as a
like Book had the
gateway
ACGs, the
to-
Moab.
yeah.
You know, Dion got the Prime.
KD.
You know, the Prime.
He's got
Yeah,
Humara.
jerseys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
KD's shoe is a Humara now. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
and I think he's wearing one inspired by the Bacon. I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen that
The
one.
18.
Bacon.
yeah. The
They were
18
nice.
is inspired by the
They
18.
weren't bad.
By the
They weren't
Bacon.
bad.
Yeah.
You saying that
So,
because you're in
you know,
Arizona?
Man,
to
come on.
maybe sell something that isn't tied to something else. I
Yes.
think I had said this probably to you, Hop. I like that Pegasus Premium. It'd be nice if it was his own shoe.
Yeah.
It's not a Pegasus to me.
Yeah.
In no reality is a Pegasus a $210 performance shoe.
Yeah. Yeah.
In no world that I come from. Maybe Vomero, because it was always a premium shoe.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just the Pegasus has always been an everyday Bowerman series type runner.
Sure.
See, to me, that Pegasus, they introduced it as like a running shoe. To me, it's a lifestyle shoe. I like the way it looks, but it is functional. But to me,
Been a bread and butter running shoe since 80.
right.
2, I think.
80s.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but
That
this
was
is
the early
82,
early
83.
Pegasus shoes. Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
reviews I saw. It's one of the more heavier running shoes from Nike.
Yeah.
You know, it's heavier.
Yeah.
So, but then they're also releasing it in limited quantity. So if you really release this shoe as a running shoe, you should make it available for runners.
You would think.
Right.
Mhm.
But the last colorway that dropped only dropped on Dick's Sporting Goods.
Hmm.
It didn't even drop on Nike.
So they're trying to take our hunt and do that with this stuff.
Right.
They're trying
Right.
to curate the hunt, right?
Mhm.
So, you know, it's a running shoe, but yet we're going to release it in limited quantities. So that way you won't run in them.
Think about it like the retailer, though. How do you stand out at retail? You get different colorways or you get exclusives. What did Foot Action and Finish Line used to do back?
Oh,
in the
yeah.
day?
Yeah.
They
Oh,
had their
yeah.
own thing. You could only get it at Finish Line.
House of
You
Hoops
could only get it
exclusives.
at-
Jordan, when the Jordan Lifestyle series came
Yep.
out, you can only
LS.
get them at Mom and Pops
Yep.
and
Mhm.
Foot Action.
Foot Action. Yep. So that thinking, and then before that, you had LE and the early sportswear years where you could only get certain shoes siloed in certain places. We got to a point
Make
where
it
there's
premium,
no point
yeah.
in going in different sneaker
Mhm.
stores. You go into one sneaker store in the mall, you've been to all of them because everybody
Mm-hmm.
has exactly everything.
The exact same thing. Yeah.
But you go to our era and you you could see many different selections within a mall or otherwise for store offerings. So I do think of it from a brand perspective, from a retailer perspective. Like I need to stand out. And so you get running specialty that sometimes gets, I think of Roadrunner Sports, you know, they get exclusive Kayanos. All of a sudden, ASIC Kayanos are trendy lifestyle shoes. That's like where'd that come from?
I
know,
never
right?
thought I would see people buying ASICs like they are now.
No, I mean, it's cool. They're great shoes. But
When I worked at Foot Locker, we sold ASICs with Spincos to technical runners.
No, they're like your running shoe. They used to always come and just you're running in the shoe. You're not wearing it for people to, you know, casually, you know.
Yeah.
But that's sort of the evolution of this thing that happens, and it's, you know, it's cool. You know, it's fun to see stuff evolve that you never thought would evolve in a certain way. You know,
It was a charge of Ronnie Fag, huh? Yeah.
Ronnie, the Gelite 3s back 10 something years ago. He was blowing up those Gelite 3s.
Killing it.
Yep. So
you know, I had a question.
Of course,
it slipped my mind. I'm gonna come back to it.
I think we you know, we had the question like I'm not sure how much more time you got, but I know we wanted to ask you this question. Like, if you could bring any shoe back that you wanted to, what shoe would you bring back?
Yeah.
And what would kind of be like your marketing for that shoe?
Air Force Max. It's the dopest fucking shoe in Nike's. Fab 5. What is wrong with you people?
I like the shout out to Michigan. I like the shout out to Michigan.
I apologize.
I love that.
You're good.
I feel some type of way about that one.
Hey, we're not censored over here. We're not censored over here.
What the? When's the last time we got that shoe?
2013.
We got that Vac looking one where it was seamless almost.
I know Kawhi.
The pair I got is 2013.
When he was
and
with
it
the
has
Spurs, he wore them in the finals.
Yeah,
the cool gray. But come on, man, be better.
Because the pair that I got, it's like I said, it's 2013, and the swoosh on the side is 3M.
3M,
yeah.
And
like Caddy was saying, it don't have any seams on it. It don't have any seams on it. It's just like it's molded. It's like it's like it's molded.
They did Max 90s. They did Air Forces. They did a whole line of the VacTech back then, which is fine. But you have a shoe that sort of changed the trajectory of college basketball.
Yeah.
You missed its big anniversary. It's not going to turn up on a spreadsheet, right? It takes us enthusiasts posting about it.
Right.
To give it that context. Like, we just got the Mystic Teal up-tempos back. Right? But that was a shoe that, like,
2011, I think.
What
was
a
the last
shoe.
time?
Here we go, right there. On cue. Man, what else can I say? It's going to show up. It's beautiful. You know, just that shoe in context in the late 90s especially, you couldn't look at a basketball court and not see them. And also people wearing them casually, right?
With black Nike
Nas and a whole polo sport outfit wearing a pair of those in the navy colorway.
With the black Nike socks. When nobody wearing black Nike socks.
Well, that was Fab 5.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Socks, yeah. And so if you're 20 years old or early and you're running a department, you're doing bringbacks, you know, this thing that nobody's asking for, but we're also kind of pissed that it's been overlooked for so long. And so you say, how would I market it? Honestly, I post about it probably every other week. I do an Air Force Max post. You know, and there are others out there too. It's just what ends up happening is kind of the same thing as the last time the Command Forces, you know, we're just talking about the Billy Hoyles, ties to a movie, so it ties to culture. Fab 5 also Barkley wore him in the finals that year.
Right.
Yeah, he
did. There's some resonance there, especially to guys our age. But you can't cheapen out on it. I think 2018 or so, the materials were, you know, they did the white cobalt colorway, and
it was not comfortable at
I don't know that they bend. They were like,
they don't.
They don't bend. They're like foams. They might as well be a foam positive.
I wore it. I wore it a couple of times. The teeth on the side immediately turned yellow.
Nice.
So
So if you're gonna give us the experience, why not give us the experience?
Sure.
Mhm.
Because if you make a subpar product, it's gonna go on clearance because us old heads are gonna reject it,
Exactly.
and then it's gonna never make another spreadsheet again.
because
unless-
it made it to the sales racks.
Mhm.
Right, unless there's an energy among enthusiasts.
Mm.
Yeah.
So that Air Force Max, you think that will be big time energy that needs to make happen, right? Do you think it's
I mean,
energy
it's an
out there for
iconic
that sneaker?
shoe. I hate to say that it's not loose with that shoe. I mean, I would put it on a Mount Rushmore of Nike basketball shoes. I would.
Yeah.
You guys might not, but I personally would. That era.
I wouldn't disagree because
Yeah,
it's
I don't
definitely
disagree.
one of the most iconic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
You just got to
especially
look at the
dealing with
impact
college
of how that,
basketball.
Well-
the impact that it did.
So when you say
Mhm.
the marketing, it's tough because you're selling something that, hey, there's this thing that happened 30 something years ago now. Right? It has to tie to culture for them to justify it in a bigger way now. Look what they're doing with the Max 95 Neons. I think they're doing a great job from a marketing perspective. They just dropped them in that store out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
that was
nice.
crazy.
That was
was
really
nice.
cool. Seeing those
Yeah.
reactions. Imagine going in the store and seeing that. You're like, what?
Ooh. Yeah.
I'm calling my buddy after
Yeah.
I buy
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
pair.
Secure
That
mine
one
gotta
guy
get mine
picked him up
first.
and he was like, "What did you get these? That one-
Right.
Is
Yeah.
this for sale?"
Are these real? Yeah. But just that hunt, that feeling of that. And so it's hard to replicate the context in something that's kind of fallen through the cracks, so to speak.
Yeah, and they keep bringing the
We got those Mystic Teals.
Right.
but they keep bringing the other Barclays back.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
I
Oh,
know.
you talking about the CB94s?
94s, yeah.
and then you get word that they're bringing the Godzillas back, but now they're saying that they're not coming back.
Yeah, they scrapped them.
They scrapped them.
Yeah. Well,
know,
I mean, we're in an era where people, kind of younger people, tend to look at us guys who wear basketball shoes casually, maybe sometimes with jeans, and want to clown on us a little bit.
Oh, he don't know how to dress.
We're not in a Nike basketball shoe wearing era right now.
He ain't
Yeah,
got no
Nike
dress.
Tech
say it.
era.
Yeah.
I mean, we are, but
Yeah.
you understand what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
popular wise, we're in a Asics. Okay,
Mhm.
Asics and New Balances. Okay, and Crocs.
Oh yeah. Crocs
So
with
let me ask you this. From your perspective or your opinion, when it comes to just say one silhouette that we haven't seen in years, and they just come out the blue with it, what makes them come out with that sneaker if it wasn't any type of demand for it? I've
Yeah.
always wanted to know that.
It's got to tie into something usually that's coming out in the future too. So, for example, if they're going to do like a revamped Pegasus,
Mhm.
they're going to also bring out a retro Pegasus out of the blue, or like Spiridon, and then there was some other tie-ins, right?
Undefeated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So usually it ties into something else that's going on too, where there's a callback.
That makes sense.
So that's how they tend to do it. The new shoe carries the weight of the old shoe, and then they sort of help each other potentially.
So it basically balances out
Kind of
from the new
yeah.
to the old.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. To get that through line on it, to get that interest and get us all posting about it, where it's not just the big blogs, right?
Right. I just feel like I think this is what 2012, and to me, I feel like they just disrespected that whole model. The Air Force 180, but they made it as a mid instead of the high, the pump.
Mm.
Yes.
I felt like that was like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
Because 2 years later, you give us the Command Force.
Force. Yep.
And a pretty good
And
version
then-
of it. And the pressure.
Mhm.
And 2 years later, after that, they gave
Yeah,
us my
the
favorite shoe of
Crash.
all time, the Pressure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yep.
So
That might
why
be one
not?
of the best retros ever.
Hands down.
The Pressure.
In my opinion, presentation, quality, all that. Just my opinion. Favorite shoe of all time.
Yeah, I did
But why not?
bang up
But
job
why
on
not?
that,
Why not go back to that sneaker and say, well, hell, we didn't came out with these 2 pumps. Why not come out with this last iteration that we made?
They have to justify the BOMs, and they have to justify the spends.
I mean, I get that,
So
man. But
so look at it this way. Right now, we know Prostology, right? You did the 180.
Mhm.
You had the remake of the Air 180 running shoe.
Mhm.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you know, for them to do that tooling, that they have to now justify probably doing the basketball shoe too, because they're going to want to spin it across. I don't know how many colorways they have to build out, but it would only make sense that we would get a 180 force, also hopefully, because they had to spend the money to do the new tooling. So,
I mean, because
things happen that way too,
you think about the price of the Command when it came out in 2014. It was a $200 retail shoe.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Then you, like I said, 2 years later, you fast forward to 16, January 16th to be exact, of 2016, a $300 air pressure.
Yep.
I didn't mind paying that because, like I said, that was my favorite shoe of all time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you know that it's a demand, I ain't gonna say a demand out there, but you have purists out there that want these sneakers to come back.
Yeah, that's where it gets tricky.
Yeah.
That's where it gets really tricky.
And my thing is, I'm not sitting here saying like who we need to talk to and all this other good stuff.
Yeah.
It's just, is there a different, like, is there an age gap in between
Yes.
the purist and I guess you'd say the marketing or the design team or whatever team it is that brings out these retros?
Well, there's that, and there's also the business side of it. Like they have certain things that lay out on a wall or that lay out in the store at the time, theme wise or otherwise, where they want to push. It has to all come together. It's not just like picking things out of a tree.
Yeah,
that's why I was saying like it's fewer purists than it are people.
Yeah, and that's the harder thing to think about is
Purist versus
on the,
production.
On the scope. How much does our business, the things that excite us on the bigger scale, how much of an impact does that actually have on? Think of how many Panda Dunks are out there right now.
Oh my God.
I don't hate on them. I'm just saying that's something you cannot go outside and not see 5 pair of Panda
I just seen them shits at the outlet before I got on.
Well, they overdid it, but yes.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, that is a business driver.
They had a good run.
They had a good run. Right. But
they were reselling for a while.
Yeah, they were.
My buddy Panit, Soul Supreme, he was on Complex talking about that. In 2021, 2022, people were paying $300 or so for Panda Dunks and then they just keep coming out. Honestly, you could argue both ways. Access, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But how many Air Force 180s or Air Command Forces or Air Pressures are they going to sell at that price point? You know what I mean? Like, to justify the build and to justify. So you have to justify the demand.
Because those Air Pressures were at Marshall's at one point.
Yeah, they was at Nike. They was at the Nike outlet for $100.
Yeah, happens.
Yeah,
happens. Yeah, so that unfortunately is the world we're in, where maybe there's a movie where someone's wearing a shoe, then it becomes popular. It used to happen that way.
So I was told that for a certain sneaker to come out, you had to start up a petition and get X amount of people to, sign the petition for that sneaker.
Marvin and the Airships?
No, it was another guy. He's doing he's doing the Air 180. He's doing a petition for that.
Oh, Ryan Forsey.
No, I think his name is Old Trafficking King or something like that.
Who's this? I want to follow him.
I have to send you his information, but I think it's Old Trafficking King.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing a petition for that sneaker, the 180 Force.
Cool.
And I think he's been doing it for a few years. But I'm just asking, like, do petitions actually work when it comes to certain sneakers?
I would think the energy comes from the social team. I would think the energy comes from the posts, because that's much more palpable. than me signing a piece of paper. That's almost like, I'm not saying it
Right.
doesn't work, but I would say the energy comes from the posts that we are doing. Like you saw the Dion posts,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden now you've seen Dion after Dion after Dion shoe.
Yeah.
They bringing out a prototype. Have you seen that one?
Oh, with the swoosh on it, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's weird? Almost all of my favorite Nike shoes don't have a swoosh prominent.
Yeah.
I like them without the swooshes.
Yeah.
It's just a weird thing. And so when you sort of go back and do an early prototype, like even they did the AJ3, the Tinker sketch version,
yeah.
I'm like, ugh. Like I get the right call,
brother.
Yeah, I was just gonna do that, Cat. I was just gonna do that.
What's that, brother?
They did the right thing by changing it and staying swooshless like the 2. You know, that's the legacy of the 2 starting, you know, going swooshless. But, you know, Huarache and plenty of other shoes I can think of. But I don't like adding a swoosh to a shoe. And the Dion's in particular, you know, you have it on the top strap. I don't need it on the side too.
Yeah. I agree.
So, Tom, I have a question for you.
Of course.
Being that you're from New York, growing up, did you have like a favorite mom and pop shop here in New York? And like, what's your favorite memory of like sneaker shopping in New York growing up?
Yeah, so I would say, so I was actually just down in New York this past weekend. We went to the Garden, and my buddy and I were talking about we would go down to Astor Place, and you would sort of walk around on the skirts of the Village, and you would walk down some of those shops. Then also 125, right? So you go to Fordham Road, but you could go to 125,
right?
And you would just walk that strip, and 15 sneaker stores, right? I'm talking late 90s, early 2000s, when you could find stuff, some of it on sale or otherwise, and it was just fun to kind of thrift and hunt, and you don't know what you're going to come out of there with. And that was when sneakers was probably at its best. I will say, I think the GOAT store of all time has to be Dr. J's.
Yes.
Has to be. Just what a selection. The wall was electric. You could walk in that store, because I worked up the street. You could walk in that store 3 times a month and have a bunch of new shoes. There was just such an energy, right? They were bustling. There's all these new Air Force Ones, all of these new,
every color.
Everything was exciting in that era. You really had to be there and just be on the shoe deck and see the energy of it all. And New York, we had it, man. And I know other pockets around the country, we had our stores and we had our things, you know. But for me, it was that was really, you know, going into the city and that focal point. And then there's also, you know of, was it Just for Feet?
Oh, I was going to say in the South, that was it for us.
Yeah, we had that on walls. You know, you go in there, you get popcorn, you could try on your shoes, shoot around.
You could hoop.
Oh, man. They had like 1,000 shoes on the wall.
Yes.
You're like,
yes. Just for Feet was like a mall in itself almost. It was like this huge store.
Yeah.
We had to, like I said, being from the South, that was like my favorite store.
That was wild, man.
Yeah, Just for Feet was it.
Right. But like, you know, you would kind of get everything versus like kind of what I was saying with Dr. J's and then also VIM, you would get like the concentrated
hiking, all types of crazy stuff.
Man. Yeah. And so
very dope.
It's just, that's what's different about this era. You can't, most of the stores carry almost the same thing.
Right.
Yeah. There's like not really much excitement to even go in those stores anymore.
Yeah, you normally walk in, look around for a quick second. They say, "Can I help you with something?" No,
just browsing.
I'm good.
Yeah. Whereas when you walked in, like when you said Dr. J's, you would walk into Dr. J's and you had outfits and jeans and sneakers, and you were pairing everything and shirts. Like, oh yeah, that goes with this. Oh man,
it was magical. You could just feel the energy coming off that sales deck, the sales floor. Yeah.
Brick and mortar, old brick and mortar.
So maybe we do another question, and then we pause for another time.
Yeah,
that's fine with us.
Yeah, okay.
Cool. You got any questions, V, real quick?
Most unique username you remember from the ISS ISS days. What's the most unique username, man? I want to.
You know, I
Pretty good.
recently, there's so many funny ones, but I recently went back in the archive and pulled out from like, I want to say 2004, 2003 or so. And it had like the original ones where it was like
Okay.
the mod squad and like the early moderators. And so
Yeah.
like for me, I always look at Marvin because Marvin was there, MJO23 Dan, he was there from the ISS days. And then when they had to
Okay.
change over to the Soul Collector days, and he saw it all the way through. I think it made it 2018. They chose to somewhere in there. I don't remember now, but it was something I always looked in on. I was kind of always on the Nike Talk side, and so
Sure.
but I would pop in and just see, and I was aware of it. And so, you know, it's a lot of fun. I think there's a lot of like more clowning and like sort of young humor happening
Yeah.
on that side, and
Yeah.
you know, it had its energy. And so tip my cap to the management of both on the Nike Talk side, where
Absolutely.
sometimes things get out of hand. Sometimes people are disrespectful, and sometimes you have to explain why that's disrespectful to somebody. And
Sure.
then on the SC side, you know, you had your moderators, and you know, they acted and managed their own way. And so you kind of think about that. Fast forward to now, X, IG.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Enough said,
True.
right?
I'll say pick your poison.
Enough said.
Yep.
It's just it's an ideology of what do you do? Do you leave everything to free whatever, or do you focus and say, well, it's probably a good idea not to let that be there. That might be
Got to
troublesome.
be diplomatic in some way. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I that always made an impression on me from a young age of how hard of a job that it must be to moderate and do the right thing for the audience. You know,
Sure.
what is the right thing, and especially when you have young 20-year-olds. You know, sometimes it gets too far with women. Sometimes it
Sure.
gets too far with slang, or just too aggressive, right? Like just too people can be
Yeah.
aggressive with each other. Like
Yeah.
it's supposed to be fun.
Mhm.
A lot of angry people out there nowadays.
Yeah, I'm failing to have any names that jump out to me to actually answer your question.
Oh,
But
good.
I'll tip my cap and say, and you know, Marvin, I think, you know, is someone I always respected in the space for, you know, being through those eras. So I'll
Well
just think,
respected guy. Well respected guy. Absolutely.
yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
I'll just tip my cap and say, you know, I always respected how, you know, so. This is awesome, guys. You know, you guys
Appreciate you, man.
are
Thank you.
really connected with each other and have your real bonds, and I love it. I mean, we could talk all day. We talk all night.
Yeah. Yeah. We definitely may need to get you back on for a part 2.
Please.
Yeah, I would love to. I mean, anywhere I could help. I mean,
Great
I have
time.
stories with all this stuff behind me here. That shoe right there, to me having a dog.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool, great
that sounds interesting. That's definitely
Yeah.
something.
You know what I mean? Like
we have to
they
get
all
back.
have their stories, and they don't have
Yeah.
to all be, "Hey, I sold it for $300 more." You know?
Yeah.
I think this era kind of thinks that the shoe is telling the story of how much you flipped it for. And so thankfully we're getting into the storytelling era. You know, I know we've talked about that a little bit before, or a lot
Sure.
before, where why the shoes matter is at least happening. So even though the brand might not get it right, it's on the right track, you know, or we might not all get it right. We're trying to move this thing in that direction, away from the flip, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I got one more question. It's just a small thing. In your opinion, from I guess you say what start year to the end year, what would be the best era of sneakers in your opinion?
It's really hard. It's really hard. I feel like it's the early 2000s, because the new stuff was still pretty good,
Mhm.
and also the old stuff was coming back and as exciting. Meaning both things were happening.
Same
And
time.
if you wanted to hoop in something, you had, you know, shoes
Mhm.
you could get into. And if you wanted to wear casual bring back shoes, maybe from 10 years prior, you could do that too, or just a million different colors of Dunks and Air Force Ones, like just the
True.
earring and all the stuff that was happening with it. So for me, the era where both new and old kind of could work symbiotically with each other, that was probably the most exciting time. I think the worst time is maybe a handful or so years ago, where everything was about the fucking flip.
Yeah.
How limited it was.
That's that covert.
It
covert
was
reseller.
nauseating. It was nauseating, and I honestly thought they were going to kill sneakers with it.
Yeah.
I honestly,
I thought the same thing, man. I really
Yeah.
did.
I think we all thought that.
Yeah.
vomit
I'm like,
inducing.
man, I don't think it's
Like
gonna come
low
back,
hanging
man.
fruit. Let me just go back and back and back and back and ruin this thing. Yeah. But the best era is when, you know, there's lots going on and you know, kind of again going back to the where'd you get those stuff. You know, that's when sneakers are fun. You pull something out and you know, you're different.
Quality was still pretty good in that era too.
Also the quality, yeah.
Quality
The mass production wasn't quite as much of an impact as it became as we went forward. But yeah.
Well, people were wearing their sneakers, like you said, at that time too. It wasn't like, you know, saving nothing and or checking the resale on it. Everybody was wearing their sneakers back in that.
Yeah,
era,
you
man.
couldn't go in your pocket and pull up your phone and hit StockX real quick.
Not at all.
I'm not saying they're the end of it, but what I'm saying is they facilitated the era that we got into of the low-hanging fruit from the brands.
Around that time, I can remember people, you know, when I was working at Foot Locker, they was backdooring shoes, but they was backdooring shoes to people that was wearing them, not trying to flip them. They was like, you know, you would have people coming in like, man, I want them for myself. You know, I never got into
that. Wearing Crocs.
Yeah, Crocs and Nike socks. Yeah, man.
But yeah, I mean,
you know,
yeah, sure, right. But you know, there's lots of elements to it, to and think about. But the beauty of it all is that you guys are all cool with each other, and next week hopefully have another guest on, and you guys have some laughs, and the week after that, and the week after that, right?
Man, we try to keep going, man. You know, we tried, man. But
tip my cap, man. That's really good.
This has been but my
I
bad.
want to tell him real quick, man. Just appreciate you, man, doing that collab post with us.
Oh yeah, I loved it. That was awesome, and it ties to you guys. It's like sort of your, you know, a little connectivity there with him showing up with his collection. I love that.
Yeah, man. So, like I said, appreciate you, you know, doing that, and you know, giving us a shout out, and you know, that post led to you coming on here. So, we appreciate that, man. Appreciate your insight. Like you said, we could be up here, for hours upon a time, but you know, wanted to, you know, thank you for coming on here and sharing your stories. Definitely, like I said, want to have a part 2.
Yeah, whenever. Just you know, hit me up. You know, if it works out, cool.
Hey, whenever you want to come up here, man, just let us know. You know,
do it. Keep making me laugh, man. You with your leotards and your sizzler. And there's no Instagram account that makes me laugh louder than your account, man. So.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, he's
being extra.
Like I said, he puts in the envelope.
Yeah, that's all.
But there's always a meaning behind his post,
right?
You know,
he's not just doing it.
There's a theme there, and I love it, man. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah,
I love it, man.
Enjoy each other, guys.
Well, look, you know, shout out your stuff one more time, man, and we'll let you get up out of here. But yeah, just let them know one more time where they can find you at.
So, InStyleShoes1999 on Instagram. Come stop in, see if maybe you can have a laugh or maybe even teach us something. Thanks, fellas.
Thank you again, man. We'll be in touch.
Thank you, man.
We'll be in touch.
Appreciate you, man.
Have a good one. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Shout out to Tom for coming through.
InStyleShoes1999.
Real quick, man. We'll go through this chat real quick, man. We didn't get a chance to really holler at the chat, man. We had Red come in, Black Sheep, The Cobbler, D Weave, Chris Neely, Paula Mapp, Where Your Kicks Came Through, E1, James F. Regular Shoes, OGWC, Warren C, JB Profess, JB in the building, Coffee with the Foe. What's happening, Coffee? Happy belated birthday.
Cafecito.
Coffee just had a birthday.
Happy belated, man.
Sneaker Dave, tell him. Came through. Trey J, the Patreon. Dub P came through. Help me with that. Sabiato.
Yes.
Yeah, Sabiato.
Yeah.
Buckeye City Soul came through, man. Appreciate you coming through, Buckeye. Anthony
Buckeye?
Turner. Steph Honey in the building. Appreciate you, sis. One good fella came through, man. Appreciate you. Tay coming through.
Yes,
Shout out
Tay.
to Scrap House.
Okay.
Monday Mid Soul. Also, shout out to Monday Mid Soul, man.
Yes, sir.
CCP in the building. Coming through. Superset King in the building. Sean
Nancy.
Mebin. What's going on? Let me see. J Jeff coming through.
J Jeff was good.
Jeff. Wendell
up,
Dillon rounding out the chat, man. So man, we appreciate everybody coming through. Real quick, fellas, y'all want to show y'all pickups? Y'all got any pickups y'all want to show real quick?
Well, might as well, huh?
We here.
You're here.
We here.
Who going
Y'all
first?
Go ahead. Y'all. Oh, yeah.
I go first.
He sounded sad. He's talking about I'll go
Man,
first.
he already know what he about to do, man. I'll go first.
Set it
No, I'll go first.
off, bro. Set it off.
I go first. Another book.
Uh-oh.
Bo Jackson. Somebody showed that actual Bo Jackson on the last show.
Yeah, they did.
They
Yeah, they
did.
did. Ooh,
Ooh.
That's
See that
nasty.
warm up suit?
look at that fit. That's what I was saying. The
Yeah.
fit.
Don't pay attention to the crusty fingers. Working man hands.
Working man, tell him, working man hands.
That's right. That's
Trainer three
the
lows.
James Evans hand. Them
That's
James
it.
Evans hand.
That must be the women's colorway.
Yeah, that's the
Mhm.
women's, and of course you got
The Auburns. Yeah.
That
That
shirt.
shirt. God.
Yeah. I
Hey,
saw the
without-
shirt. I was like,
Would y'all wear them biking shorts with that?
God. damn.
yeah under some pants.
it's pretty. It's so pretty.
I got these at the outlet for $24.
Dang.
Nice.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Steal.
they had the last pair, in so they had a price of $99.99 on them, and I was like, a few weeks ago y'all had these on promotion sale for like $50, and it was on the shelf, had a lid. She said, well, yeah, we since sold out, and I guess we just getting rid of some stragglers, and this was the last one, and it was so happily my size, so
Look
I
at
ended up
that.
getting this pair for, like I said, $24, man.
That's a big steal.
I know my lighting sucks, so best believe I got a fit coming with these, so I'm taking it back to the old school one.
Been going crazy with the fits.
Oh yeah. Got the Jordan 5 sweatshirt to go with my reimagined black metallic 5s or my 2016 black metallic Jordan 5s.
That looks heavy. Is it heavy?
Oh, it's very thick now.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It look heavy.
Yeah.
Look, got some quality to it.
Yeah.
1990 style. And mail call. Got my shirt in.
Nike was taxing for that shirt.
Mm.
Yeah, they were, man. It is actually,
Oh, but it looked
Hey,
good though.
I'm hating, bro.
this is a big ass shirt though, man.
You
What
got
size
10
is that?
niggas on it. You gotta be big.
This is a 2X. This is a big ass shirt.
Look at that quality though.
Yeah,
Yeah, that picture looks good.
And it's on the back.
it does. Reimagined.
And for those who need to know, that shirt was $65. $65. But I'm gonna try the shirt on because it's bigger than I expected. So
Is it
I don't know how-
oversized?
I mean,
You think so? I don't know, bro.
look how wide.
No,
trying
it looks no, it looks like a 2X.
Nah.
It looks wide though, man.
Nah, it looks like it might be oversized.
That's just
It's
because
oversized. If it's oversized, Hopper, you might be in the game. Like I said, I'm gonna try it on and I'll let you know, man.
If it's too big for you, man, I'll take it.
But they still got them on sale though. I just have to buy me an extra large, you know. But I definitely try it on, man. I think that's all I got, man.
Losing all that weight. That's what
Yeah,
happened.
I know, right?
Man.
Yeah, I got the
Losing all
same
that
one.
weight,
Chris.
man.
Yeah, I got the 05 version.
I'll
I
go
got
real
it.
quick, man. I only got one.
Here you go.
So I got these. AEs.
Ooh,
So a little,
I like that green.
yeah,
Hold on,
a
hold
little
that green
background.
nasty.
Little background. This is a custom from Absence on Instagram. ABSNCE. I had saw it a while ago. I think he had rolled it out last year, sometime in November or something, man. But
It's a
these
custom.
are, yeah, it's like this is hand painted right here.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so these are pretty crazy. Pretty
Those
crazy.
That like it should be called
Amazing.
Emerald City.
Yeah, so he calls it the Super Gremlins, but obviously
I
you
was
could
gonna say
say
Green Goblin.
Green Goblin,
Green
something like
Goblin
that. Yeah.
is yeah. They look Green Goblin-esque.
They're pretty crazy, man.
Yeah, they
They're
look
pretty
nice.
crazy. This is why I wore for St. Patrick's Day.
Okay. Yeah, they look nice, bro.
Yo, those look crazy.
They almost look like a car.
How does the comfort feel on those?
Nice, man. They fit good, man. That's one of the, I'd say probably top 5 lifestyle shoes from the NBA right now. That's a hoop shoe, but no, you can wear that shit anywhere, man. So,
They weren't a little narrow on the toe box, don't they?
it's not really. It looks like they could be, but not really, man. Because I have
Okay.
wider feet, and they do me fine. Half size up. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that's mine, man.
That's what you got?
Yeah.
I'm gonna show mine because I know Caddy got some. He probably got a few more than me. But Caddy right here, I'm blaming Caddy for this one right here.
Why you blame it?
We was on the phone. He was like, "Yo, these dropping, bro." I was like, "What you think?" He's like, "Yeah, I think they're gonna be all right." And I said, "I would never buy another school shoe." But
Oh shit! Here you go. Yeah.
the Dunks of a Feather.
See,
Don't worry
now
about it.
I see
Stay
that.
right,
Now I see
keep your
that it's
hands right
green.
there, so I can take this screenshot.
Ducks of a Feather. I ain't gonna lie, it's a clean shoe.
Yeah,
It
that
looks
color is
like it was
tough.
black on the picture, but this shoe, like when the 3M hits it, is green. It's like a green 3M.
Yeah, like on the screen right now, it looks dark green.
Yeah, got the hang tag, the Dunks of a Feather. But I ain't gonna lie, it's a clean shoe. It's got the duck in the inside. This, it's got the 3M almost like the 13s, but it looks black on the pictures, but when you get it in hand, like I said, this is all 3M, and it's a clean shoe. I'm not gonna lie. I tried it on, and that bottom feels like bricks. I'm not gonna lie. After wearing those Pegasus, I've been rocking them Pegasus for a while, and totally different from these. But yeah, this is a clean shoe. I'm not gonna lie to you. You see the difference, Caddy?
Mm-hmm.
So I had got those. This is the hype beast first. This is the hype beast section of the show. Bam.
Look at him.
The SB4s.
Those are so clean.
Look at him.
My son calling me. Yeah, these are clean. Got the SB suede on there. I've rocked them a couple times. Bubblegum bottom. Got the SB leather, soft leather. I will say this: they got more padding on the upper, and so they do look a little big on. They look a little bulky on foot. I had saw Black. I had him on. Black was like, "Is that a size 11?" He was like I had mascot feet on.
Yeah, I thought they was bigger than what he normally
Yeah.
wears.
So got those in, and so real quick, a story about this shoe. So my wife had ended up initially hitting for this shoe I'm about to show in a 9.5. She thought she hit for a men's 11. She hit for the shoe. She was bragging. She was hyped up because my wife never hits on a pair of shoes, and this shoe came up on the draw. She's hyped up. So I talked to her and I'm like, "All right, babe, check your email. You got a confirmation number?" "Yeah, I got a confirmation number." "All right, look down at the size. Does it say men's 11, women's 12.5? She got quiet on you, boy. And she was like, uh-oh. I said, "You got the wrong size, didn't you?"
Oh, Reggie.
She was like, "Yeah, I got a women's 11. I really couldn't do nothing but laugh. So I took that shoe and I ended up trading it for a pair that I doubled up on the SB4s. So fast forward to when was that, last week? I had got exclusive access on the draw for the Union ones. End up hitting for the Union ones. I'm not a ones guy, to be honest. So I was like, I'll use it for trade bait. End up seeing somebody on in one of the shoe groups I'm in, and they said they had these for trade. So I hit them up. We did a mutual trade. Long story short, I ended up getting these in my size. The bikes. Clean shoes. Got the 3M up underneath.
Those look good.
Got the suede, the backstroke suede. You can see it. Yeah, these are clean, bro.
So what you think? The SB4s or the brick by bricks?
I think the SB4s, you could wear them with more. Both of them are clean, but me personally, I would probably rock the SB4s over these. It's just it's a clean shoe, nice clean.
So why isn't there any hype or buzz like the brick by bricks on those SB4s?
But you know how it is when an all red shoe comes out. It's an all red Jordan.
I thought that fad was gone though.
Nah,
I think it's a little bit of all red shoe plus the hype around Nigel Sylvester.
That too. And then the packaging. Got this box is like textured. The packaging is dope, man. You know, it comes with you can see the thing, like the strap that the bricks are strapped up with or whatnot. But once again, you know, people go crazy over red shoes, bro. Just like you saw they bringing the Toro 4s back.
No, I think that was a joke.
I don't know. I've seen multiple people talk about it, but I might be wrong. I
heard it was a joke.
3M underneath the netting. But yeah, this is a dope shoe. Me, if I had to pick, I probably would pick these though. It's just a more cleaner shoe could wear with more stuff. But that's it for me.
Shut it down, Caddy.
All right, so one of them I already showed already.
Heat.
Nike Air, more up tempo. I've wanted this shoe since high school. Finally got it.
I hear mixed emotions about the comfort on that shoe. Give me your thoughts on it.
I actually thought, like, I had heard stories that you need to go up a half a size. But when I put them on, I didn't have any problem with these. I didn't have any problem. They didn't hurt my feet or anything.
Is it do they feel like the midsole, is it comfortable or is it doable?
For me, it was doable.
Okay.
For me, it was doable. It wasn't like it was super comfortable, but it was doable. It was like I had it on most of the day, and I with some Nike shoes, they kind of squeeze in the back by the heel,
Mm-hmm.
and that heel start to get a little sore. But
Mm-hmm.
these were fine. These were fine
Okay.
for the most part. The next shoe was a shoe that I wanted since my senior year in high school. So that's 97, 98. My boy had them. I'll never forget. He was standing at the bus stop with a Tampa Bay Devil Rays jersey on,
Mm.
and it was neon and black.
Mm.
And he had these on feet. And I told him about it last week.
Damn. Oh my God. Now Reggie Miller's.
Total Air Max up tempos. This was one of those shoes I had to get. It was a shoe that I saw in one of my favorite sneaker stores that is not here, that I just had to get.
That came out a couple years ago.
This one is from 2020.
Man, was that long? It just
Yeah.
it don't seem that long. Okay.
Yeah, this one's from 2020. Yep, 2020.
Damn.
Yeah,
I
they had came
remember.
out with a pair. They had came out with a pair in 09.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept seeing pairs on eBay from 09, but I was scared to buy them because separation, and you don't know if this is going to crumble.
Right.
So to find a 2020 pair, it was like, yeah, I'll take them. I didn't hesitate.
Nice.
They always seem pretty durable.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like I still see the House of Hoop exclusive ones, the Reggie Miller PE.
The pinstripe joints?
Yes.
Yes.
And I want to get a pair, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know if I want to take that risk.
Yeah.
Let me see what else we got here. I got two more.
Crazy.
So, like Hop said, we were talking about those Oregon joints, and my Lightning pair came in today.
Ooh.
So how many iterations did they do of it?
They did three. So you have a Thunder, you have a Lightning, and you have a Storm.
Okay.
And the Thunder pair is green 3M. The Lightning pair is all silver 3M. So you can't really see it on camera, but it's all 3M. And I think it looks like this part is 3M too.
Were those limited?
They tried to make it seem like like when Division Street does their collab with Nike and Flight Club, they try to make it seem like it's going to be super limited. And the Air Max ones were limited. The Dunks were somewhat limited. These weren't limited.
No, it seemed like they were readily available.
Yeah, but for my size, like 13, and these I have to go up a full size because they run somewhat narrow.
Mm-hmm.
The big sizes sold quick. When the tongue actually changes, if you can see it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Was that Ducks of a Feather? Ain't that something?
Yeah. So, and it has the duck on the inside, and the other shoe has the
It should have been
Roll Tide.
Should have been a Michigan shoe.
Listen, it's always Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Don't get this shit fucked up.
And the last one, the Storm PE.
Nice. That's the one that I saw that I liked.
Yeah. The Storm PE reminds me of the tuned air celery colorway.
Yeah.
Mhm. From
Yep.
99.
Skepta's too. Yeah, Skepta Josie.
Yep, Skepta's too. Yep. This was my favorite one. Yeah, this one has the duck. Same thing with the tongue.
Nice pickup, bro. I like that iridescent look.
Yeah, this one is dope because like when I look at it on camera, it's like green, but from here it does have that celery like bronze to green iridescent.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He said all of them pressure.
Yeah, very, very dope. Those Mystic
that's
Teals,
it.
man. Whew.
Yeah, the Mystic Teals I was excited about because, you know, seeing that shoe remind me of like Tim Duncan at Wake Forest. Like I was a big East ACC kid growing up. So, you know, the days of Tim Duncan, Randolph Childress, those guys, you know, Vince and Antoine Jameson, all those guys. Like seeing that shoe reminds me of college basketball so much. So yeah.
When that Randolph Childress that crossed up old dude and he fell
Yes,
down on
sir.
the ground.
That
He told him,
and did like this, and then shot the jumper and it's
Hey, he made it. The most important thing about all
Listen.
that, he made that shit. Yeah.
Oh,
listen,
man.
Randolph Childress was a bad man. he haunted the Tar Heels.
Man,
So,
but his pro career didn't pan out like
it didn't
know.
pan out like it was supposed to.
Right.
But his college career was crazy.
Facts. That's the only memory that I got of him was that cross up. I mean, I'm pretty sure he got more, but that's just the one I remember right there. Like,
yeah. It was the ACC tournament, and when he hit boy with that crossover, and he said, "Come on," it was like, oh my god! Like,
but see, this day and age, that would have been a tech.
Yep. This day and age would have been a
college,
tech.
Man, look, get him out the game. Something. That's your first tech. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, there's two crossovers I distinctly remember of, like, from college basketball, possibly the best two crossovers I've ever seen. That one and Kemba Walker's game winner.
Yeah.
What cardiac Kemba when he put old boy on the floor?
Yeah.
Hit him with that cross and then hit him with the jump back. Wasn't even a step back. He jumped back. Yeah. Like and the old boy just went fell down. Oh my god.
Definitely, man. I remember stuff like that. And you know, since we're talking about NCAA and all that, you know, Final Four. I already know who V going
Blue
with. You know.
Devils.
Look, man, how can you
fucking
be an
right.
Alabama fan and a Duke fan?
Hey, and an Indianapolis Colts fan, but these are all the same teams that I've been rolling with for the last 25 years, man.
I hear you, bro.
So I keep
hear
legit,
that.
man.
So you think?
Yeah, but we're right there. Houston's gonna be tough, man. I'm not looking forward to it, but you want to be the best, you gotta beat the best, and they look like the best to me.
Expect to get a DM from Coffee very soon.
He ain't a fan.
He a Houstonite, bro.
Yeah, he a Houstonite. Anytime, H-time, anything.
And he can't tell you who the shooting guard is on that team, man. I'm not worried about. I ain't worried about this shit, man. But yeah, it should be a good game. Auburn game should be good.
It just depends on how Broom that injury he had toward the end of the game, man. Like you come down on your ankle and damn near hyperextend your knee and your elbow, and you pull a Willis Reed type, you know, comeback, like shooting threes, one-handed damn near, like, man.
And he did that.
Yeah. He definitely did that. Oof.
He said, nah, I'm finna come back and bring this crowd back because it seemed like they couldn't move the ball, like they couldn't score once he left the court, man. And Booger Green, they was definitely coming back, man. I call Michigan State Booger Green, man.
Yeah.
And they was
Yeah, they
coming
weren't
back,
gonna go out
man.
without a fight. Yeah. for
Nah,
sure.
nah. I mean, they made it there for a reason. So
Yeah. Izzo's a great coach.
Mhm.
He had them prepared. They just it's tough, man. SEC is fucking tough, man. It's fucking
it
Yeah,
is,
I
tough.
man.
think we
It definitely
they
is.
set a record for the most
It's
teams in
fucking
the
tough.
tournament, didn't they?
It's
14
tough.
one.
Yeah.
We went from a football conference to a basketball conference.
Mhm.
But I'm
Yeah.
excited, man. I'm excited. I'm excited about the boys having a chance. And the opportunity is it's tough to get here, and the ACC wasn't shit this year for us to get this far. So I appreciate it.
I got a good question for you, V.
Yeah.
Your top 5 Duke Blue Devils
Mm.
of all time.
So we're going Grant. Got to get Grant, Christian,
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie.
Okay. This is where it gets tough.
I like JJ. I like JJ. JJ. He was a bad white boy. He was getting
he definitely was.
a
Yeah.
lot of shit. So you know what I mean. I like JJ. And then I don't
EW,
know, man.
the Alaskan assassin, Tracy Langdon.
Yeah, he's not gonna be on there. No, he's not gonna be on there. And neither is Kyle Singler, unfortunately. But anyway,
Mm.
last one to get in, man. I'll take Hurley. Give me Hurley.
Okay.
I was finna say Bobby Hurley.
Give me
Yeah.
Hurley. Give me
I was gonna
Hurley.
say Bobby Hurley
Give me Hurley.
because he led that. I guess you say the college players against the dream team in that so-called win they had.
Yeah, he was there. He showed up.
He actually led them. He actually led them, bro.
He was there. He showed up. Yeah.
They let
That's
him
Yeah,
down.
Bobby Hurley was a bad boy. He was a
Oh yeah, he
Bad boy,
was.
man.
yeah.
He
I
was
think
he was a great point guard for that team. He was a great
right.
distributor, leader.
He was
for that team.
definitely the head of that
Yeah.
that squad.
Yeah.
He didn't have to have the flashiest numbers,
Right.
but he
Right.
was the
No.
quarterback for that team.
He got
Sure.
everybody where they needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I got one for you, Caddy.
What's up?
Top 5 Big East teams from your era.
Ooh.
There's gonna be a lot of UConn in there.
I think UConn gonna be that toward the bottom for Caddy.
Because
in my
you
eyes.
have because you got to remember, I grew up watching Malik Sealy at St. John's,
St. John's.
Yeah,
Mark Jackson and Chris Mullen at St. John's.
St. John's. Yeah.
That 95-96 Georgetown team with Allen Iverson and Victor Page.
Mm-hmm.
That went against Ray Allen's UConn team, where Ray Allen hit that crazy off-balance jumper to beat them in the Big East Championship. So I would say those two teams definitely got to be on the list. That UConn team and that Georgetown team.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, you got a lot of
Any Pitt teams in there?
No.
Teams in there? No.
See, I'm thinking about like one of my favorite teams during that era was Syracuse, because like one of my favorite players was Lawrence Moten.
Oh man,
Okay.
Lawrence Moten. He didn't have a great NBA career, but in college he was nice.
Yeah.
Like, so you have, and then you got to remember Syracuse had
McNamara.
that team. Yeah, Syracuse had that team where you had Derek Coleman and Billy Owens.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yes.
Damn. All right. So I'm gonna go Georgetown. I'm gonna go UConn. Give me another Georgetown team with the Twin Towers, Morning, Dikembe.
And Reggie Williams.
Yes. I'm trying to remember. Was Charles Smith on that team also? As the point? He ended up playing for the Celtics.
I can't remember. That one I can't remember.
Yeah, I have to go back and look that up. Damn, you had the St. John's team with Felipe Lopez and Zendon Hamilton, but yeah, the UConn. I see. It's going to be a lot of Georgetown and UConn.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, because
they basically ran it.
EW1 just mentioned with the Rip Hamilton Khalid El Hameen team. And Khalid, like when I played ball as a teenager, that was like my idol because he was a short, fat dude that could like
do everything.
Kill. He could do everything, and it was like I want to be that. Give me that UConn team. So that's 2 UConn teams, and was that 2 Georgetown teams?
Calhoun is such a good coach, man. Such a great coach.
You know what? And give me the 2003 Syracuse championship team with Melo and Hakeem Ward, and those guys. Yeah. That team was cold. Melo was great as an NBA player. That one year he did at Syracuse, like he was a monster. He wanted to come back. He wanted to repeat. EW, here was the crazy thing. I went to Christ the King, so I got to watch Omar Cook and Eric Barkley and Lamar and all those guys on a regular basis. And like when we'd have like the pep rallies and they would have like scrimmages and stuff, some of the shit that they did in scrimmages was crazy. Like I still to this day feel like Omar Cook, I feel like he should have did 4 years and then went to the league.
Yeah.
Because Omar Cook, people don't know how good Omar Cook really was. Yeah.
That's tough, man.
One last question, and it'll be one question for you, Black, one question for you, Hop. Okay, Black. Your top 5 Michigan players of all time.
That's easy. Alpha said that's easy.
He's like Jimmy Smith.
My favorite of the Michigan Fab Five was Chris Paul. I felt like he was the superstar of the team. Believe it or not, Jalen Rose was the trash talker of the team.
He was.
Yeah.
I can believe it.
To this day.
To this day, yeah. He's a trash talker of the team. Jimmy King, to me, him and Ray Jackson was like the silent assassins, and they played hella defense.
Yes, they definitely did.
But I'm gonna go as far as my point guard. I'm gonna go with Trey Burks.
Ooh,
okay, I like that.
I liked his game when he was there at Michigan, and he was basically the star of that team that led them.
Because he was pulling from everywhere.
Man,
that kid was pulling from everywhere.
I have to go with my 6 man. I'm gonna just throw in the 6 man. My 6 man is Tractor Trailer.
Okay,
I gotta go with Tractor Trailer, man. Rest in peace to Tractor Trailer. I'll say Glenn Rice is my small forward.
Okay.
I wasn't really a Juwan Howard fan like that, but I knew that he was the glue that kept that team together.
Right.
So for my power forward, I have to go with I had to go with Weber for my power forward.
Yeah, I was gonna say C-Web.
Center. See, we didn't really have no good centers back in the day. I'm gonna just put Juwan Howard because, like I said, he was the glue that held that team together, in my opinion.
Yeah, because Maurice Taylor was like what, a power forward?
Yeah, he was a power forward.
Yeah,
but he I mean, with him, Maurice Taylor, with him, he didn't have like, to me, he didn't have like a good campaign. It wasn't a great campaign. It was somewhat good, and it got him in the league for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I see D Wee says Roy Tarpley. I'm not putting no cocaine head on my team.
No
Gary
coke,
Grant,
man.
he was nice. He was known for defense. He was nice. So yeah, that's my team right there. Trey Burke. Who would say my shooting guard was I just forgot that fast.
L Train was good, bro.
I know you got Trey. I know you got C-Web, Juwan.
No, I had a shooting guard. I forgot who my shooting guard. Karis LeVert.
Okay.
Karis LeVert. I think he was good when he was at Michigan. Led them to the championship against was that Louisville. We ended up losing that game. So yeah, man. That's my picks, man. Go blue all day over here. Y'all know how I get down.
Okay.
Sean Wiggins.
Don't ask me about no Bama basketball.
I'll say your top 5 SEC basketball players of all time.
Oh. Shoot, man. Oh, that's a blur, bro.
Hey, man, say Hollywood Robinson from Alabama, man. You remember him, V?
Come on,
man.
all them niggas did drugs. All them niggas.
I'm so glad you brought up James.
Freewell was a beast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
definitely
Freewell was a beast. I don't know if y'all remember that Arkansas team that won, but
94.
Yeah. What was his
Big
name?
Nasty.
Corliss
Williams.
Yeah.
Big Nasty.
Corliss Williamson.
Yeah, Scotty Thurman.
Robert Horry, he did his thing at Bama.
Balling. Scotty Thurman was raw.
Don't forget about Todd Day and what's the other name?
Mayberry.
Mayberry.
Yeah, Mayday.
That team, that was hard, bro.
My God.
That team, that was, man.
Bro, when they used to come on ESPN, I remember my cousin being like, "Oh, Mayday's on TV."
just keeping it real, man. Back when I was coming up, it was mainly North Carolina, Duke. Teams like that. Jamal Mashburn for Kentucky, he did his thing.
Barkley.
True.
Yeah, Barkley. But back then, I wasn't watching Barkley at Auburn. It wasn't until he came to the league. You know what I'm saying, that you kind of noticed Barkley, because I was younger back then. So college basketball, it was mainly when I started watching the NBA. But yeah, Shaq also for LSU. You're right. Yeah, Chris Jackson. Yeah, he was saying a few names that I completely forgot about.
Chris Jackson at LSU was a
Chris Jackson. Chris Jackson, period, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I always say Steph Curry before Steph Curry.
Absolutely.
yeah.
One of the
Absolutely. And the
purest
thing about
shooters.
it, bro,
And
he can
if you
still
really
shoot
want to be honest,
now.
Kaepernick before Kaepernick. If you really want to be honest, you know what I mean?
True. First one to get banned or
Yeah.
blackballed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Abdul
Rauf.
Rauf. Balling. Yeah. Shout out
His
to
jerseys are like legendary now. They've hit legendary status.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good luck finding one.
Yeah, they've hit legendary status, man.
Yeah.
I hate that that LSU team when they ran up against Kenny Anderson and D Scott at Georgia Tech in
Lethal,
I think it was the
Lethal
Final
Weapon
Four.
3.
Man,
Lethal Weapon
like
3.
when they ran up on that team, they could not do nothing with them boys over
No,
there.
you can't mess with them boys.
Dennis Scott and Brian Oliver and Kenny. Oh my God.
What's his name? Bobby Clemens. He had that team right, man.
Yeah, Bobby
He had
Clemens.
that team
Oh,
right.
Running.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Damn, Hop, I waited too late.
What happened?
I'll send it to you and I'll talk about it off air.
Yeah. Well, look, man, we've been up here 2 hours and 15. Dope show, fellas. Shout out to Tom from InStyle.
Yeah, appreciate him coming on, man.
InStyle Shoe, yeah.
Thank you for the support that
Yeah,
you given all of us.
This was truly just one about conversations tonight, but definitely some dope stories, man, from everybody, man. And shout out to the chat, man, for hanging out with us for this, man. We wouldn't be where we at without y'all, man, and we appreciate the support, man. Shout out to everybody that comes through every week, man, and shows us some support, shows us some love, man. And
Appreciate you all.
yeah, man, I'm Hop 18. Pass it to my brother over there.
I am BAA, aka Black. Rest in peace to Mutombo.
no.
There we go. Rest in peace to Mutombo. I'm gonna pass it down to the guy up under Hop Dog 18. Oh, Hop 18, I'm sorry.
I am Cadillac Jackson. Yeah, you guys know where you can find me. Pass it over this way.
DiCarlo, man, another great show. My brother's
Appreciate
here.
you.
Appreciate everybody tapping in with us. Make sure you're drinking water, taking care of yourself, looking after your people, man. You guys have a blessed one. Peace.
We're Retro Talk Forum. I'm Hot Dog 18. You can find me on IG, and I'm gonna pass it over to my brother this way.
What's good, people? It's your boy Black Ass African, aka BAA, aka the sneaker historian.